Ooh, here we go. Something is stirring on YouTube. But what is it? What is actually going on at this moment on this channel? Well, today I was going to go outside and do a super duper live stream, but sadly it has been raining all day. It started raining last night. It rained all night. It's rained all day. And now everything is very wet outside. So I have decided instead to do a live stream in the house. Something a little different. Unprepared. This is a spontaneous live stream. And we are broadcasting live now from England as usual. So that is the same as always. And I hope there are some people watching now, or else this is going to be a very strange live stream because I will be talking to no one. So here we go. Oh, can you believe it? The sun has actually just come out. So a few moments ago, the sun actually came out. But now it's gone back in again. It's gone back in and it looks as if the rain is on its way. Oh, hello there. There you are. I wondered where you were. Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? Are you really happy? I hope so. I hope you're feeling good today. I hope also that you can hear me. We always seem to have some sort of technical problem these days whenever I do a live stream. So I hope you can hear me all right. Let's have a look. Oh, the live chat is already very busy. I will be with you for 1 hour. Also coming up later, Mr. Steve will be here. He's been very busy today, which is very strange. It's rather strange because Mr. Steve is supposed to be on holiday. He's supposed to be taking a break this week, but he's been working very hard in the garage. I don't know what he's been doing. Maybe he will tell us later on. Yes, it is raining here. I suppose I should say some hellos. I wonder who was first on the live chat. It looks as if... Oh, Kaiba. Hello, Kaiba. It looks as if you are live and you were first on the live chat as well. Thank you very much for joining me. How lovely. Also, Alamgia is here as well. Thank you very much for joining me. What a surprise, says Lilia. I just thought about you. Hi, everyone. Oh, I see. Was I on your mind? You are always on my mind. You are always on my mind. I like the music that appears at the beginning of your live stream. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say. Maria is here. I'm doing something slightly different today. I'm not outside, but I am in the house, and you can see behind me the outside is looking a little gloomy today. We've had so much rain. You might be able to see the squirrel behind me at the moment. There is a squirrel running around. Where's he gone? I think he's gone now. I've scared him away. So thanks for joining me. It's live English and it's a Wednesday. It feels very strange being with you on a Wednesday. I don't know why, because normally I don't appear during the week, but lots of people have decided to join me right now. Hello to Anna, also Min Pham. I think you are watching in Vietnam. I think so. How can I start learning English with Mr. Duncan? Well, you can watch my videos on YouTube. There are lots and lots of videos available to watch on my YouTube channel. And you can follow me live every Sunday. I am with you every Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. And we normally spend 2 hours together on Sunday. Today, I'm only with you for 1 hour. But on Sundays, you can catch me live. And this is a great way of improving your English listening and also your word power, You can learn some new words. And if you are very lucky, you can also watch the live stream using the subtitles as well. So some people can actually watch the live stream with subtitles. What are we talking about today? Asks Selena. Well, this is what I like to call a spontaneous live stream. Everything you see is spontaneous. Nothing has been planned. I was feeling a little bit lazy this morning. I must be honest with you. I was feeling rather lazy because Mr. Steve is on holiday, and I must admit, I was feeling as if I was on holiday as well. And then I suddenly realised that on Sunday I promised that I would do a live stream. So Mr. Steve is on holiday and I was feeling a little bit lazy today as well. But in the end, I decided to come on live and do a super duper live stream. And for those who are wondering, yes, Abdo, this is rather extraordinary, rather unusual, something that is different from what you would normally expect. Hello from Fuad. Hello, I'm Fuad from Morocco. Hello to you as well. Thank you very much. How are you today? Are you happy? I'm not too bad, thank you very much. Even though I wanted to go outside today, but sadly, I couldn't do it. Yes, there are squirrels in my garden. This morning, the animals were going crazy because at the moment everything is wet and there are very few insects around because it's early spring. Yes, when someone in your family is on holiday, it is extremely contagious. I think so. If you have someone nearby, if you have a family member who might be on holiday, but you're not on holiday, it's very hard to resist being lazy as well. So that's what happened to me today. I decided to become a little bit lazy today, for which I apologise. We have a lot of people on the live chat. It's not very light in here. Let me just see if I can adjust the lighting on the camera. Is that better? Oh, I think you can see me now a little bit more clearly. If you want to improve any part of your English skills, if you want to improve anything, and that includes remembering words or learning new words or reading, writing and speaking, the best way to do it is to use it. So try to learn some new words every day. And that is one of the reasons why my live streams have become very popular, because now you have a chance to listen to English being spoken and being used spontaneously. So everything you hear now has not been planned. What does it mean, contagious? Asks Hassan. If something is contagious, it means it is easily passed on to another person. So if something is contagious, it means it is passed on easily. So you might find that if you are sitting next to someone who has a cold, achoo, achoo, and they sneeze near you, you might catch their cold. We can say that the cold, the fever, or the virus is very infectious. It is passed on very easily. So I hope that helps you. Infectious, something that is easily transmitted, something that you can catch very easily. Thank you for the class, says Louis. You are welcome. Something slightly different. I'm standing up in the dining room. I'm not doing anything special today. I'm just standing here talking to you. So I hope you are enjoying this spontaneous, unplanned live stream. Lolly, hello Lolly. Lolly. I haven't seen you for a while. A big bonjour to you, watching from France. Mika is here. Oh, how lucky I can join you. Thank you, Mika. And that is one of the best parts of changing the clocks. Because here in the UK, we change the clocks, we move them forward by 1 hour on Sunday. So now people who are listening and watching ahead of the UK time, they can actually now join earlier. So that's brilliant. Oh, Pedro is here. Hello, Pedro. I suppose many regular viewers didn't receive the notification. Oh, okay then. Well, this is, as I just mentioned, a very spontaneous, unplanned live stream. So, I'm having a lazy day. I don't know where Mr. Steve is. I was expecting Mr. Steve to come down and join us, but I think he's in a very lazy mood today. Oh, thank you. Lolly says bonjour to you as well. I've got an itchy nose. My nose is itching. I don't know what happened yesterday. I couldn't stop coughing. I was coughing all day yesterday, and I think I know why. Because we've had a man come to the house and he's been cutting all of the trees, but I think a lot of the pollen from some of the trees has actually gone up my nose and made me unwell. So I have been feeling a little unwell over the past couple of days. I think I might have early hay fever. I think I might have early hay fever. Mr. Duncan, would you like me to teach English with you on the live stream for a while? Like Mr. Steve. Well, if you want to get on a plane and fly here, you are more than welcome to join in. If you want to, there's plenty of room here in my dining room, so don't worry if you want to join in. No, Mr. Steve will be here soon, don't worry, for all those fans of Mr. Steve. And what was happening on Sunday? Mr. Steve was acting very strangely on Sunday. Maybe he will tell us what was going on. Yes, I think I might have hay fever. Now, normally I don't get hay fever until June, but this year I seem to be getting my hay fever, my allergy, earlier. Hello from Algeria, Princess Kawala. Oh, hello to you. What a lovely name. Hello, Princess. Are you a real princess? Really? You are? Wow. I've never met a princess. I've met a few queens, but I've never met a princess ever in my life. Have you eaten lunch? I haven't had my lunch yet, but Mr. Steve has, because he's been busy this morning working in the garage. I don't know why. He should be relaxing like me. Allergies. Yes, you can get allergies from pollen. So you become very sensitive to certain things. And in my case, it is pollen. The pollen from the trees and the plants. Mr. Duncan, what is the secret behind you always looking young? I've been watching you since 2009 and you still look the same. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I don't know. I think maybe because I try to be happy every day. I always like to have a smile on my face and a spring in my step. So perhaps that's the reason why I still look very young as I approach 60. I'm on my way towards 60. Can you believe it? Talking of which, here he is. I know a lot of people have been waiting for Mr. Steve. So here he is. We don't have any applause, but if you would like to clap your hands, you are more than welcome to do so. Here he is. It's Mr. Steve.
Oh, hello. Hello, everybody. Yes, it's Mr. Steve. I'm on holiday today. I heard Mr. Duncan upstairs. I was upstairs. I heard him while I was upstairs, describing the fact that I'm on holiday and that he's been very lazy. And And I said to him, go on, you've got to do a live stream. You cannot let your viewers down. You promised them on Sunday. So get on and do it. He wanted to go outside, but it's raining. And I've been very busy, Mr. Duncan, tidying out the garage.
The garage.
Or the garage, or the garage.
The garage.
Because, I mean, I'm a bit lazy. Last year, I bought some shelving. Some self-assembly shelving. Are you impressed that I could say that?
The one thing I am impressed by is that you bought those shelves over a year ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mr. Duncan. I bought them a year ago because the garage is very untidy, and I wanted to buy these nice metal shelves that you put together yourself, and then I can store all my bits and pieces on there, and it will be nice and tidy, and I will know where everything is, nice and tidy, and I'll be able to go, oh yes, I know where that hedge trimmer is. It's on that shelf. I know where those books are. They're on that shelf, or that trowel, or that rake, or anything that I need for the garden.
Can you really put a rake on a shelf? It seems like a very big object. What about your lawnmower? Maybe you can put your lawnmower on the shelf. But the thing is, now this is something I've noticed because I like to be nosy when I'm looking at my neighbours' houses. So as we walk around, I have noticed that it is common for people to have a lot of rubbish in their garages.
Yes, and we are no exceptions. To that, we have plenty of rubbish, but I like to have a nice clear out every now and then. And I've found lots of old bits of cardboard boxes to burn, so I'll be burning those later. It's nice to tidy things out, isn't it? Have a good tidy up. If you've got a room, it's actually been shown that it does cause you stress. That you're not, it's sort of low-level stress. You're probably not aware of it, but if there's untidiness in your room, it creates stress. It stresses me. So when everything's tidy and neat and in its right place, then I just feel a bit more relaxed, to feel a bit less stressed. Because there's nothing worse if you go into like your shed or a storeroom, a garage, and you're looking for something, and there's so much clutter everywhere you can't find it. So I like to have all my tools hanging up, and I want to put these shelves up so that I can put all the garden implements.
Is this sentence ever going to come to an end? So they say that tidying up can be very therapeutic. Therapeutic. I love that word. Can you say it, Steve?
A therapeutic.
Something that's very therapeutic. And I suppose you could say that something therapeutic is something that you do or see or hear that makes you feel better. It can make you feel less anxious or less stressed. It can make you feel better in some way. So maybe it makes you feel better physically or mentally. So something that is therapeutic. So when we say therapy is the thing that makes you feel better. It is therapeutic.
Yes, that's right, Mr. Duncan. It must derive from the word therapy. And there are various forms of therapy. And just tidying something up gives you psychological therapy. As you tidy the room up, your mind also, I think, becomes less cluttered.
Yes.
And as a result, you free up space in your mind to think about other useless things like Brexit, for example.
Oh, for God's sake. Can we just say we are not going to mention... I wasn't going to mention it, but you can imagine that Steve wanted to talk about it. We're not going to talk about Brexit today because between you and me, I am sick of it. So we're not going to mention it. Instead, let's have a look at the live chat.
Well, one of the questions on the live chat was, what do you think about Brexit?
Well, we're not going to talk about that. We talked about it on Sunday. We talked about it far too much. So let's have a look.
Yes, but it's a huge subject that's affecting Not just us, but the whole of Europe.
Okay, goodbye, Steve. There's Steve. Steve's going now.
Bye. I'm back.
We're not really going. We are not going to talk about.
Maybe we should ask.
Maybe.
If people want me to talk about Brexit, then maybe, just like the public vote, then we have to obey the public vote.
Can I just send a message to a person called Ismail Mohammed? Can you stop writing the same thing on the screen? You only need to do it once. We don't have short attention spans here. Now, if Pedro is watching, can you please put the person in time out? Yes, Ismail, we get it. We don't do religion here. You've come to the wrong place, okay? This is not a religious channel. This is talking about the English language.
Secular. We are secular.
Secular. We don't do it. We don't do God here, okay? Bye-bye. Thank you. Oh, Lilia is here. I like the fact that Lilia joins in now all the time. Also, Alamgir, I think you should be going outside to get some people to do interviews.
Lilia, if I press that, what happens, Mr. Duncan?
If you press that, you stop the...
How do I get the live chat up?
There he goes.
Do I go down like that? Yes, somebody spoke then about... Oh, it was Lilia. Are you into minimalist living? Minimalist living. Well, yes. Interestingly enough, yes, that's the... a concept that if you own less things, then you are less encumbered, aren't you, and less attached to material things, and you're free to go off around the world, do what you like. You don't have to worry about looking after your property or your garden or your cars or all these. That is a problem with materialism, and as you get older, you collect more and more stuff, and as you collect more and more stuff, you have to do something with it. And as you go through your career, you probably get more money, and the temptation is to buy a bigger house, and then buy a car, and then maybe a second car, and then lots of furniture, and then if you have a garden, you've got to buy all the garden furniture, and it goes on and on and on.
Okay,
and
then.
Eventually, like our neighbours, we won't say which ones.
No, okay then, Steve, that's good.
No, it's all right, Mr. Duncan. I'm making a point here.
No.
Censor me.
Please don't mention anyone we know.
I'm not going to mention anyone we know.
But you just kind of did. You know our neighbours
I
are...
didn't mention any names, Mr. Duncan.
Okay.
Calm down.
Yeah, please don't... Yes, we'll just leave
Calm
that.
down. So they've got a big... What I was saying was that if you have a big house... Mr. Duncan, why are you cutting me off? I'm making a point.
Don't mention the neighbours.
All right, all right, there's somebody else we know in another part of the country
Well, but
who have got lots of possessions, and in order to store all those possessions, then they've had to buy not one shed, but two sheds. So they first buy one shed, and they haven't got room to store it all in. So this becomes more and more of an encumbrance to you. Where do you put all these things? So the concept of having a minimalist...
The concept.
Yes, as Lilia was saying, of having less material things around you is frees you up, and you don't have to worry about what to do with all these material things.
Yes.
And then you can just get on with whatever you want to do in your life.
Yes, I wanted just to say what minimalist meant.
Go on then.
So minimalist, if you are a person who is a minimalist, it means you have few things around you. Now, it's very strange because all of the rooms in our house have very few things in them. So I think Lilia might be right. I think we are kind of minimalist in our decor and the way the house looks.
There's one room in the house which
Sorry?
is anything but minimalist, and that's Mr. Duncan's studio.
Yeah, but that's functional.
Yes, but you wouldn't describe it as minimalist.
No, that is
Maximalist, I would say.
Yes, but that's a room that provides a certain function. So the studio, you can't have an empty studio because you need cameras and lights and microphones and lots of tripods.
How many tripods do you think Mr. Duncan has? At the last count, I think it was 19. And I think he's secretly ordering them. When you go in there, it's a huge trip hazard.
Can I just say, there are more than 19 tripods. There must be about 23, 24.
I need to do I need to do another count. I can't get my words out today, Mr. Duncan. I'm getting excited.
You are getting excited. This is like last Sunday. What was going on last Sunday? You were acting a little, I want to say unusual, but you seemed very excited. Was it because your holiday was about to start?
I think that's what it was, Mr. Duncan. My holiday was starting. I don't like the fact that you've got this microphone and you can censor me at any point by removing it.
You know, I can do that normally anyway because I have the controls, so it doesn't actually make any difference.
I've got to start my own YouTube channel and then I can say what I like, completely uncensored. Yes. I can talk about Brexit all day and cars.
Yes, we remember what happened the last time. About 8 years ago, Steve started his own YouTube channel and he only made 2 videos.
I was just trying to prove that I could do it as well, Mr. Duncan. And then I thought, well, I can do this. I don't need to carry on. The point has been made. I will leave Mr. Duncan to develop his English channel and I will assist wherever possible, which is what I'm doing right now, Mr. Duncan.
I'm not sure if you are actually assisting.
Well, if I wasn't helping you, I'd be in the garden, Mr. Duncan.
Maybe that's where you should be.
Well, I was all yesterday. We had to have, every year, we have somebody to come in. He's a sort of a tree specialist.
He's sort of a tree specialist. That means, well, he is a tree specialist.
Yes, well, the thing is, we have lots of high hedges around the borders of our garden. And they're so high, and a lot of the trees are high. I don't want to see. I'm fine doing gardening and a bit of clipping here and there, but I don't want to be getting on ladders and more than sort of. I don't like to be further off the ground than say about 6 feet.
No. Even if Steve climbs on a chair, he starts to vomit everywhere.
I get vertigo. So it's dangerous. It's dangerous getting up on ladders, and everything's very slopey in our garden. We're on a bit of a hill, and it's all very slopey. So to do the difficult stuff, I have somebody to come in once a year. Andy Chet charges me a fair price, but he does 2 days, and he does all the difficult work that would take me probably a week to do, and I could end up in casualty or A&E.
So if you need your bush trimming, if you have a bush that is overgrown, we can recommend Mr. Kiwi.
He's very good. Yes, he's very good. Anyway, as I said, he was here for 2 days, and then now I yesterday spent all day doing all the lower stuff. And it's hard work, our garden, isn't it, Mr. Duncan?
It is.
Well, not for you. You don't do anything.
It's not hard work for me because I don't have to do anything.
He does nothing in the garden, absolutely nothing. He'd be a lot fitter and slimmer if he helped me in the garden.
Okay, calm down.
I can't keep this up for much longer, Mr. Duncan. My energy levels will sink to my boots.
Something really funny happened earlier. Pedro was trying to put someone on time out, but he accidentally put someone else in timeout. He accidentally kicked Lilia out of the live chat.
Oh dear.
So this is what happens when you press the wrong button.
Can we get Lilia back?
Lilia is back, I think.
Oh. All right. Are we going to have arguments?
Sorry.
I'm treading on your cable, Mr. Duncan.
Goodness me, Steve, you are the most clumsy person.
You notice I changed out of my gardening clothes just for this.
I thought you were still wearing your gardening clothes. I can see, Mr. Steve, that your skin is much better today. So you can now continue drinking vodka.
What was wrong with my skin? Oh, yes, I was green, wasn't I, on Sunday? Yes, I've got to admit it was the vodka.
I don't know what was happening. All of my equipment in the studio on Sunday was going wrong. I have no idea what happened.
Yes, Lolly, I'm a little excited. That's because I'm live talking to you. That's why I'm excited. That's the real reason. I always get excited when I'm on the live stream.
Lochana, let's go back to the live chat. Lochana says, Mr. Duncan, sometimes I hear you speak American English. What do you mean, American English words? Because I don't have an American accent. My accent is definitely not American. But maybe sometimes I might use American expressions or euphemisms. Like the other day, Steve, I said gotten, which is straight from American English. So gotten.
Well, the thing is, we are heavily influenced through television programs and films by American culture and American words. And we often find ourselves using the American version of words or Americanisms in our day-to-day language because there is so much influence from television.
And it works the other way as well. So you will find a lot of British expressions creeping and becoming used in American English. Like one good one is ta-ta. Now that is the thing I say in every lesson. At the end of my lessons, I always say ta-ta, ta-ta for now. But now I've noticed that sometimes it's used on American TV shows and movies. So I don't think it's my fault. I don't think they've heard me say it. But that is a British expression. So sometimes you hear American expressions used in British English and British expressions used in American English.
That is correct, Mr. Duncan. But we do watch a lot of American programs, don't we, Mr. Duncan? Because we find them a bit more progressive, a bit funnier if they're comedy. And we love Law and Order, don't we?
Yes, there is a TV show that was around during the 1990s and also the early 2000s called Law and Order. And that there were many different versions of this show made. So you had Law and Order. It's all about people who commit crimes and how they are brought to justice. They go to court and they are found guilty or not guilty. And sometimes it gets very dramatic because they are executed. They are sentenced to death. Can you believe it?
Murder one.
Yes, murder one. So if you are charged with murder one in the US, there is a good chance, depending on which state you are in, because some states don't have the death penalty, whilst others do. So in some states, I think New York still has the death penalty. So if you are charged with murder in the first degree, there is a good chance you will be executed.
Well, we don't know enough about that to really make comments, but we do like the programme. It's very clever. It's you think we like the actors, we like the acting. It's very fast-paced. It's clever. There's lots of twists and turns in the plot. And just when you think everything's sorted out, there's a little twist or something at the end. And it's just a very well put together programme.
Very good, very well produced, very well acted. Yes. And I always like the beginning as well. There is a bloke, a man who has a great voice in the criminal justice system.
And what the other thing which makes us laugh is that they don't waste any time showing you the crime, which is usually it's always murder, isn't it? On this I mean, literally within seconds, there's a body on the screen.
Well, they won't be prosecuting shoplifting, will they?
Yes, I mean they are a homicide department, aren't they? Homicide. Yes, there's a good word. So but what's so funny is that we always laugh. How many we sort of set our watches to see how quickly it is before the dead body appears. Well, they don't waste any. It's not one of those programs where it takes sort of half an hour to get round to the crime.
No,
it's literally within seconds.
Yeah. So the music for the TV show starts, and then literally within seconds you have a dead body.
If you blink, you've missed it.
That's it. So Law and Order. Do you ever watch that show? It doesn't actually exist anymore. That particular version stopped around, I think it was around 2012. But there is another one called Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and that is still going.
Not keen on that one.
So let's go to the live chat, Steve, before we...
Lolly said earlier that do we speak posh English? The answer is I've always been accused of being posh. So I certainly do. Mr. Duncan, I think, has adopted some of my a bit of my posh accent.
I haven't.
I think my accent's fairly neutral. I mean, I can go into a very posh accent if I choose. But most of the time, I just speak perfectly normally, really.
I can't tell the difference.
Oh, Mr. Duncan. Right, what is the live chat trying to say to us, Mr. Duncan?
What is it trying to say to us?
I want to improve my English. Well, everybody says that.
Yes. Zachariah, hello to you. Thanks for joining us today. Apparently, Guadalupe is going to work, but I will watch the live stream.
We're on holiday. We're on holiday.
Well,
it's wonderful.
Well, Steve is on holiday. I'm supposed to be working still.
Are you ever working, Mr. Duncan? You just I go out to work and I come back and I can never see any evidence of any work being that's actually taken place.
Actually, I'm normally sitting in front of the television watching Law and Order.
He is. Sometimes I go away, he's watching Law and Order. I come back in the evening and he's still watching Law and Order.
So that's the reason why TS asks, why isn't Mr. Steve at work? Because he's having the week off. He's been so busy.
I'm having time off, a bit of a holiday. Actually, I'm using up holiday that I carried forward or carried over because if you don't use all your holiday, our holiday period at work runs from January to December, and we get so many days, and if you don't use it all, you can carry over up to 5 days.
Fascinating.
But yet, well, some people might be able to do this in their jobs and others might not. You can carry it over, but you have to use it, those carryover days, by a certain date. Okay. So it's in our company, it's the end of April. So I'm using up those carryover days in order to de-stress and also to do some gardening, tidy up the garage, help Mr. Duncan, and just sort of, relax.
Yes, even though it doesn't look like it. So we have, I am jealous of you, says Njuan Tuan. Also we have, let's have a look. Njuan Tuan actually says, my IELTS is 6.0. Well done, that's very high.
Is that good, Mr. Duncan?
That is very, very good. Quite good, although 8 would be nice.
Maybe after watching this live stream, you could go to 8.
Mr. Duncan, do you like sports? People always ask this. We don't play sport, do we, Steve? We're not very sporty.
Well, I not team sports. No, I used to like tennis. I used to like cross-country running. I've never been very good at team sports. I like running. I like running a lot. I think something very strange has happened on the live chat. I think Pedro has accidentally banned Lilia. I think so. I haven't seen Lilia since Pedro pressed the button. So what have you done? What have you done, Pedro? Have you pressed the wrong button there? Oh dear, better bring Lilia back.
I want to see the design of your T-shirt. Would you show it for me? Oh, I see. Do you mean the T-shirt I'm wearing now? Okay, here it is. You don't have to...
I was happy to take control of the microphone, but Mr. Duncan wouldn't let me.
There it is. Yeah, I like the way Steve's still talking and he doesn't have a microphone. So do you like my T-shirt? There it is. Can you see it? Can you see it? There it is. My lovely T-shirt.
It's a holiday T-shirt, isn't it?
Yes, one of my friends from Malaysia bought this many, many years ago. I think I've had this T-shirt for over 20 years. So this was actually given to me by one of my friends in Malaysia. So yes, so that's the story behind my T-shirt.
It might not look 20 years old from where you're standing, but from where I'm standing, it definitely looks 20 years old.
Well, I know because it has a hole. Look.
Oh. Disgusting. Mr. Duncan, put your arm down. I don't want to see your holy armpit.
Look, well, it's not my armpit that has a hole in it. It's the shirt. So there we go. You see, you can see.
Oh, don't be so pedantic.
You can see.
Pedantic. There's a good word.
Are you okay again? Are you all right, Steve? So I'm trying to show something so you can see.
We don't want to see it, Mr. Duncan.
You can see that this shirt is very old. So there we go. That's
You've
what
rotted the armpit.
Well, you show me a T-shirt that you've had for 20 years that hasn't got holes in it.
Well, I suppose the answer to that is to get a new T-shirt, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, but I like this T-shirt.
Well, you can't wear it when we're going on holiday later this year.
Okay,
possibly.
okay, please.
I'm not going to say, Mr. Duncan. You don't trust me at all, do you?
No, I don't trust you because you are the worst secret keeper in the world. Look, people tell Steve to keep secrets, and the next day I hear him on the phone talking to people, and he's telling other people the secret that the day before he said he would keep.
I'm not very good at keeping secrets.
You are not.
That is true.
So don't say anything. But in a few weeks' time, in fact, the end of this month, we are going on a special trip that Mr. Steve was given by his company. So we are going somewhere special, but we won't tell you where until we are actually there. So there will be a big reveal from the place where we will be. Anything special, Steve, on the live chat?
I can't see anything at the moment, Mr. Duncan, so we have to return to Brexit. That's the only solution.
No. Dear Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve, I can't listen because I'm just going to work, but I look forward to downloading this lesson. You are really great. Thank you, Pavel, for that. You still look young, teacher. Well, we try our best. We take care of ourselves. We get lots of exercise. But the big thing, the most important thing is to stay happy. Are you happy, Steve?
Yes, I'm very happy, Mr. Duncan.
You can tell he's happy. Look at that face. That is the pure image of happiness there.
I'm happy, Mr. Duncan, because I'm standing next to you doing a live stream. What could be better than that?
I think so. The best way to keep a secret is don't tell anyone. I think that's very good advice.
Yes, it's very difficult to keep secrets. Even murderers, apparently, even if you commit a bad crime, most people, they have to confess it to somebody at some point. And some crimes don't ever get solved, do they? They never find who the culprit is, who committed the crime. But then quite often you find out many years later, after the person who committed the crime died, and because they confessed it to somebody on their deathbed or before they die, because they just can't keep that information in.
It sounds like Steve is just telling us about an episode of Law and Order. Wasn't this in an episode of Law and Order?
I don't know.
I think it was.
I just have no idea.
Wasn't there a guy who committed a murder and then many years later someone else mentioned that this guy had murdered someone because the wrong person had been put in prison? So I think that's what it is. I think that might be an episode of Law and Order that
it's true, though.
You've just mentioned.
I think it's true. If you committed a crime or have a dark secret, would you be able to hold that secret for the rest of your life, or would you have to reveal it to somebody? I couldn't hold a secret in like that, Mr. Duncan.
You can't hold any secret.
That is true. I can hold some secrets. They are difficult to do that. My energy levels are flagging, Mr. Duncan.
No. Steve cannot keep secrets. Never tell Steve any secrets.
I don't know how, but whenever I press that screen, it goes wrong, Mr. Duncan.
That's because you are useless when it comes to technology.
Yes, Pedro says, Mr. Duncan, you've got to bring Lilia back. He said he can't do it.
Oh, okay. This is awkward.
There we go.
Well, let me just... Yes, wait there, Steve. Let me just see if I can find the last message.
There it is.
Wait there, Steve. You've just got to bear with me. Don't worry. It's okay, Steve. I'm trying to find Lilia.
Let me have the microphone. Oh, he won't give me the microphone. He just won't let me have the microphone. So while you find Lilia, I'll give you a brief update on Brexit, shall I?
No. Wait there, Steve. We've got to do this. We've got to put this right because Lilia might think that we've kicked her out, but we haven't.
She's going to be angry at Pedro.
She's not the only one.
So do you know how to restore Lilia back to the live stream, Mr. Duncan?
Fortunately, I do.
Oh, that's good. And are you truly the only one with the power to be able to do this?
I have the ultimate power on this channel. No one beats me.
Yes, you see, if I try to grab Mr. Duncan's microphone, you see, he just won't let me. He just won't let me.
Steve is not having this microphone.
He has to have full control over the microphone.
I am the producer.
You're having to go back a long way, Mr. Duncan.
There we go. I found it. Right there. Let's see if we can just put that right.
Oh, it's not working. You might have to go to your computer.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to the computer. I'm taking a big risk here. So hold the microphone. Don't shout into it, Steve.
Oh, I've got a rush.
I've placed it into Mr. Steve's hand and now he is holding it very tightly.
The microphone.
There, the microphone.
I've got control. I am the supreme leader.
The microphone.
Says Pedro. Go off you go, Mr. Duncan.
The microphone.
Yeah, we know that. That's the microphone. How do I hold it? Should I hold it like that, Mr. Duncan? Like a rapper?
No. What?
Don't rappers hold it like this?
No.
I don't know.
No, clearly you don't know.
Your hands are freezing cold, Mr. Duncan.
Just keep it away. You don't have to...
Off you go, Mr. Duncan. I'm in charge now. Oh, Pedro, thank you very much. This was something we spoke about. I sent you that email, didn't I? Do something wrong on the live stream. Mr. Duncan will have to go off. So a brief Brexit. Does anyone want to know about Brexit, or do they want to know about my gardening? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I've broken it, Mr. Duncan. I've broken it. I don't know how to operate this at all. Lolly says, "Don't give him the microphone back." I won't. I'm going to strap it to me. So how do rappers hold it then? I'm obviously wrong. Is it like that? Somebody holds the mic. There's various ways of holding a microphone, aren't there? If you've noticed over the years, some people hold it like that. Some people hold it like that. Other people hold it like.
I'm back, everyone, and so is Lilia. Hopefully Lilia will be back now. So just a little word of warning or a suggestion. If you are kicking people out, make sure you kick the right person out of the live chat. Whew, dear me. Was Steve shouting then into the microphone? I'm very sorry about that. What were you doing then?
Well, somebody said that rappers don't hold their microphone like that.
Well, no, rappers don't hold their microphone like that. Never.
Well, how do they hold their microphone?
Mr. Duncan, can you look us on the room? Look us on the room. I don't know what you mean by that. Do you mean can you show us your room? So you want to have a look at this room? Ah, interesting. Well, you can have a look behind us because the garden is looking a little nice at the moment. Let's just take that down a little bit. Look, there's the garden. Can you see the garden behind Mr. Steve? So there, that looks rather nice today. Even though we had a lot of rain earlier, it was absolutely throwing it down. It was very, very rainy this morning. Are we lighter now? Can you guys read my text? Yes, Lilia. Lilia is back.
Oh.
Can I just apologise on behalf of Pedro? Pedro accidentally kicked you out. He didn't mean to kick you out.
Or did he?
Or did he? Ooh, conspiracy theory. Ooh.
I've noticed on the table here, Mr. Duncan, you've got an orange.
Yes, very observant.
I'm just trying to figure out why you've got an orange. Are you going to eat this live? In front of the rest of the world?
Well, first of all, this orange isn't alive. It's dead. So,
I didn't mean that, Mr. Duncan. As you well know, I meant, are you going to eat it live?
Oh, I see. Thanks, everyone. Thanks a lot, Mr. Duncan, for going the extra mile to give me my voice again. Well, don't worry. I will go round to Pedro later and I will smack his bottom with a shoe.
I wonder if Lilia could hear us while we were doing.
What have you done, Steve?
I don't know, but I'll press cancel. There we go. Oh, look at that, Mr. Duncan. I'm getting the hang of this.
Yes.
Nice garden. Well, it's a nice garden because I have spent a lot of effort. That's me, not Mr. Duncan, who just enjoys it, whereas I maintain it. And as you can see, those hedges at the back have been very well maintained by yours truly. If we say yours truly, we mean we're referring to ourselves. Why do we say yours truly?
I don't know.
It's sort of, it's just a different way of saying me.
Yes, just referring to yourself. So you are saying yours truly, almost like you are referring to yourself in the third person. Imagine if our noses looked like oranges. Wouldn't that be amazing? So imagine if your nose actually looked like an orange. Wouldn't that be weird? Imagine if you walked around every day and your nose looked like this.
Oh, Lilia is very forgiving and has said that Pedro didn't mean it, which is wonderful. Isn't that how wonderful people we've got on the live stream? They don't argue with each other. They recognise when a genuine mistake has been made and we just move on. But the question somebody has asked is, so is this true that if Pedro can't put somebody back on once they've been taken off? Is that true?
I have the authority to reinstate, but no one else does. So only the owner of the channel can actually reinstate someone. So you can remove them, but you can't bring them back. So I hope that's... Where are you going, Steve?
I couldn't read the screen. Sino says, where is my hair?
Where is your hair?
Yes.
I think your hair is in 1983.
Approximately, yes. There you are actually correct. Where is my hair?
It's in 1983.
Probably not the best way to word a question like that. It's not like it could come back at any moment.
It's a rather blunt question.
Yes, I started losing my hair around 1983 and it's gradually been disappearing since then.
So that's the answer to the question. Mr. Steve's hair is in 1983, and also it's a little blunt as well. We don't normally ask questions like that. You might say, oh, I couldn't help noticing that you appear to have lost your hair. When did that happen? So sometimes you have to ask a personal question, but you have to use something called tact. So you ask something in a polite way. But it's true, yes, Mr. Steve did lose his hair in 1983.
Gradually, it didn't suddenly all go at once. It's called male pattern baldness.
Yes, and Boy George was in the pop charts. That's how long ago it was. So Boy George was actually in the charts. I think he was at number 1 with Karma Chameleon.
I'm not sure about that, Mr. Duncan. But it's a condition that afflicts a lot of men, more so in some countries than others. But certainly in Western white men, it's very common.
You never see a bald Eskimo.
That's because they're always wearing hats.
No, it's true. You never see... I don't know why. I think it might be because of the cold weather, so they have to keep their hair to keep them warm. But you never, ever see a bald Eskimo.
Well, I don't know if I've seen enough Eskimos to actually make a conclusion about that, Mr. Duncan.
Some of my best friends are Eskimos.
Not sure about that. But yes, it happens to about half of all men, I think. There was no chance for me because my father was bald, and also all my mother's brothers are bald, so there was no chance that I was ever going to retain my hair.
I think it's safe to say that baldness runs in Mr. Steve's family.
Yes, and I just have it very short at the sides because I've got nothing here. So I keep it short at the sides because I think it just looks better that way.
Of course, I have no room to talk because I've been losing my hair over the years. So, because my dad had no hair when he was 19.
19?
So my father started losing his hair when he was 19. And then he joined the army as well. So my dad was in the army and he went to Cyprus and he was in the army and he caught an illness, a disease that made all of his teeth fall out. And he was only about 20, 21. So my mum told me that when she met my dad, he had no hair and he had no teeth.
But strangely enough, that used to afflict people in the forces. When I say the forces, I mean the Army, Navy, Air Force. My father was a sailor, and he lost all his teeth when he went to sea as well. So I think because of bad diet, and Mr. Duncan wants to say something. He's just itching to say something. I think it was a common thing to happen to you if your diet wasn't very good and you didn't have access to a good dentist, that you would rapidly lose your teeth. Lots of people of my sort of father's generation used to lose their teeth. Lots of them had false teeth because they didn't used to go to the dentist so much, and they didn't look after their teeth as well as we do today.
Yeah, so apparently you caught it from the drinking water. So they drank water that was not very good. And the illness, the disease is called pyorrhea. So pyorrhea is actually, I think it's like a virus, and it affects your gums and all your teeth fall out. I imagine it must be very similar to gingivitis.
It's okay, Sino. I don't mind you talking about. I know you didn't mean it in a nasty way.
I know, we're just joking.
I don't mind talking about it, actually.
We're joking.
I used to be very upset about it when I was younger.
We're joking.
But I've got over it now. Sue-Cat's got to go to work as well.
Yes.
See you Sunday. So, must be maybe Sue-Cat was in her lunch hour, her dinner break.
Yes, it was earlier. So Sue-Cat is behind us with the time. So maybe it was morning even.
Heber says, "Oh, what a great mum you have, Mr. Duncan."
Well, that's open for debate.
Open for debate, I think. We won't go into that. Was your father army rank?
My father was, I think he was a corporal. So my father was a corporal. But what he used to do, he used to make all the food. So he was actually part of the catering corps. But he did learn how to use a gun and also how to stir soup as well. Two very important things for survival. He was very deadly with a whisk. He was deadly with a whisk. So my father was very good with a whisk and a gun.
Did he have a whisk in one hand and a gun in the other, just in case?
So when your father was in the Navy, was he surrounded by seamen?
Did he ever? You wanted to make some rude remarks, Mr. Duncan.
Did he ever go on the poop deck?
You're just disgusting, Mr. Duncan. You really are. And I don't know why I come on these live streams with you, because you always try and insult me and make me look the fool.
I'm just asking about the people that he was serving with. He was serving with lots of seamen.
I can't imagine Mr. Steve with hairs. Or even, what we would say is we wouldn't use the plural form of the word there. We would just say hair.
Yes, so often when we describe a person or an animal, we say that it has lots of hair or it has hair. So we don't say hairs, we say hair. So that dog has very long fur, so not hair. Actually, sometimes people say hair when they mean fur, like Mr. Steve, you see. So does a horse have hair or fur?
Well, it's hair, Mr. Duncan.
Horse hair. Yes.
Exactly.
So what about a dog?
A dog has hair?
A dog has fur.
I'm not sure about that, Mr. Duncan.
I was going to say something. And hair. So quite often people will say dog hair or dog fur. But cats have fur.
Jordeo says, use minoxidil, Mr. Steve. Well, interestingly enough, I did try that drug when I was in my early 20s.
Did it work?
Well, the thing is, it didn't really work, and I stopped using it because at the time it was very, very expensive, and it would have meant having to apply this drug forever. And who knows what the side effects would have been. And I was quite vain. You know, when you're younger, I think you're a bit more conscious of your appearance.
You still are.
And I wanted to, I didn't want to lose my hair, so I rubbed this drug on called minoxidil, which was interestingly enough, that was a drug, I think it was, I don't know what it was developed for, but they discovered the side effect of it was that it would make your hair grow back. But I think it was a blood pressure product or something. I can't remember. But you know, do you really want to be applying lotions to your scalp for the rest of your life? I decided to accept it, shave everything off and move on.
Yes, everything. You shaved everything, even the hair you can't see.
But of course, now it's very trendy to shave your head. But back in the 80s, it wasn't. So I stood out a bit at the time.
Yeah. It always looks better if you're black. I think every black guy who cuts their hair short always looks so cool. What I always think of the guy from Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Pulp Fiction. You know who I mean.
You are right, though, yes, because you don't get this when a white guy shaves his head. You get the outline colour of the hair here, and then a white head. Whereas if you're black, you don't get that colour differential between the side of your head and the top of your head.
Yeah. So if you're black, you're great. It's great. It's super duper.
It doesn't matter if you go bald.
It doesn't matter.
You just shave it off and you look cool and no one can tell anyway.
It's great. So if you're black and you lose your hair, you still look cool.
And what a lot of white people do is then slap on lots of fake tan to take the whiteness away, so that they don't look quite so, you haven't got this white forehead on the top of your head. Or you wear a hat, which of course, now I am bald, I have to wear a hat when I'm outside, otherwise I risk getting skin cancer.
Oh dear.
And we don't want that. I already had to have one nasty looking thing burnt off a number of years ago.
You definitely don't want skin cancer. Definitely not.
So it's a hat for me forever when I'm outside. Oh, Mr. Duncan, yes. The father of my sister in-law went into World War II. Oh, he's passed away. But sister-in-law receives a fat pension. So if we say a fat pension, it means she gets a large pension.
From the army?
From the army. Well, that can't be bad.
Brilliant.
That is good, actually. What country is that, sorry?
That's Pedro.
Was it? Yes. Because we're often criticised, people in the army, in the UK, and I think in America as well, often criticise the fact that they don't get looked after enough after they leave the army. So maybe where you are, Pedro, they look after their ex-force personnel a lot better than we do.
Well, especially if you're injured. I think the big part is if people are suffering from physical injuries or mental injuries. So I think there is a lot of criticism about people who fought in the armed services, and then after they've served their time, they find that quite often people just throw them on the scrap heap. This happened a lot in the United States after the Vietnam War came to an end.
That is true, Mr. Duncan. Yes, I find it incredible, says Lilia, when people look at a baby and say, oh, she looks like her mother. or he looks just like his dad. Is it ever possible to spot any resemblance when a baby is a newborn?
I think all babies look like Winston Churchill.
Yes, well, I suppose you might, the colour of the eyes maybe, but people always do say that, don't they? Oh, doesn't he look like you? Doesn't she look like her mother? People always do say that. It'd be interesting to find out if the people that said what these babies grew up to, who they grew up to look like, and whether whether the people that said they looked like the mother or father were actually correct at the time. I think people just say that as something to say, don't they?
I do look like my mother. A lot of people used to say when I was younger that I look like my mum. You look like your father a bit. I think your father and you look very similar. You have the big, proud nose. There's no comment.
A Roman nose, it's often described.
It's certainly Roman all over your face.
It's not that big, Mr. Duncan. How long are we staying on for? Because I want to go back into the garage and carry on tidying out and putting up my shelves, which I may need assistance from somebody, to help me with that. I may need an assistant. I need an assistant actually outside because one of the conifer trees, the branch is drooping and I need to tie it back and I need you to push it, Mr. Duncan, from the front.
So you need me. Okay then, Steve, we get it. I love the way Steve explains things and then carries on explaining it for about another hour afterwards. Hello, Mr. Duncan, Mr. Steve.
Montenegro,
it's Mirella. Hello, Mirella. Nice to see you back again.
I'm going in a minute.
Well, we're both going because we've been here for over 1 hour. I can't believe it already. We've been here for well over 1 hour. So it's 23 minutes past 3 in the afternoon.
Little M says the 1st of April. Is that a bit of a cultural thing in the UK?
The 1st of April. I think everyone has the 1st of April. I don't think the UK only has the first.
I'm referring to April Fool's Day.
Oh, I see. Well, you said the 1st of April. I think everyone has the 1st of April.
Well, of course they do, Mr. Duncan.
Especially on the 1st of April.
But I think that's maybe what capital M, little m is referring to.
April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, which sort of passed unnoticed this year. But yes, April Fool's Day is in the morning up until, is it 12 o'clock on the 1st of April?
So you can only make the jokes, you can only fool people up until midday. And I thought that Theresa May on April the 1st was going to tell everyone that Brexit was just an April Fool's joke.
That would have been fantastic. But yes, so I don't know. I wonder if other people have April Fool's Day in their country. But yes, so up until 12 o'clock you can do a prank on somebody.
Yes.
And then at 12 o'clock you have to reveal that it was a prank.
You trick them.
Joke. You trick them. And you can say all sorts of things, and in the hope of tricking people, because often people don't remember that it's the April Fool's Day.
My favourite April Fool's joke was many years ago in the I think it was the late 1950s, when there was a television programme here in the UK, and they went to Italy and they went to a spaghetti farm, and there were these trees, and they all had spaghetti hanging from the trees, and they had a documentary. They made a serious documentary talking all about spaghetti trees, which of course turned out to be an April Fool's joke, because spaghetti doesn't grow on trees, it grows in the ground.
Somebody's asked what was the colour of my hair. It was like a dark brown. I had a full head of hair.
It was very curly.
My mother used to say to me that when I went to the hairdresser, my hair was so thick and luscious that the barber couldn't get his comb through my hair.
Is it true that you had a big afro?
No.
Steve had this massive afro. It was huge. He was the only person in Moreton and Marsh to have an afro.
Oh, Lilia's going, and we're going soon as well. So Lilia thanks us for the live stream today. And we thank you for being there with us.
Yes, we're going.
Are we?
Well, I will see you later, Steve.
Okay, then I'll go and I'll let you wrap up. And I'll say ta-ta for now and see you on Sunday. Bye.
There goes Mr. Steve. We will be back on Sunday. Oh, I think Steve has got backache. I think so. Hello, Mr. Steve. What's the history of April Fool's Day? How do people live in England? How do people do it in England? Well, people play tricks on each other. They might pretend to be ill, or maybe they pretend something has happened, but it hasn't. So there are many types of April Fool's jokes that you can play, but only on April the 1st and only until midday. So I'm going now. It's time to leave you. I hope you've enjoyed this very unusual, spontaneous live stream. And if you like this, then I might do more. Who knows? So I'm going now. Thanks a lot for your company. We will be back on Sunday, Mr. Steve and myself. Of course, we might do another live stream before then. But normally I am here Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time, and so is Mr. Steve. Thanks for your company today. Thanks to everyone on the live chat. It's been interesting. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for watching us live, and I will see you later. And of course, until the next time we meet here on YouTube, ta-ta for now.